How's it going today? Tim Fuller, assistant basketball coach, Providence Friars. Born in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, raised in Woodbridge, Virginia. So I have a mix of East Coast in me. Sometimes I flip it to talk a little bit Northeast, and then I flip it to talk a little bit Mid-Atlantic. I went to school at Wake Forest University, where I played in my freshman year with teammates with Tim Duncan. My senior year, I was teammates with Josh Howard, and so I can also mix a little Southern in there with me as well. As soon as I graduated from Wake Forest, my initial job was with the Atlantic Coast Conference office, where I worked for former head of basketball, deceased now Fred Barricat. Learned a ton from him. Then I went on to coach at West Forsyth High School, where Chris Paul was a sophomore on my JV team. I was honored to kind of help him through his development and transition to college. I went on to Elon University, then back to Wake Forest, where I helped Chris transition from college to the NBA, and then followed an illustrious career where I had the chance to work for Ed Cooley at Fairfield University. Went to work with Nike in their pro basketball division, where I spent 3 years mentoring guys like Rajon Rondo, Caron Butler, Paul Pierce, Nate Robinson, and worked for all the teams from Boston down to Toronto, down to Charlotte, and serviced them from the NBA capacity. And then went to work with Rick Pitino at the University of Louisville, and spent 1 season there. Then had a chance to go work with Frank Haith at University of Missouri, and that's where I met Coach Kim English. So in 2011, when I transitioned to University of Missouri, Kim English had put his name in the draft, and he was kind of going through the draft process. So I didn't really get a chance to know him then. But once he came back and said, I'm locking in for my senior year, I immediately gravitated towards him. His overall dedication to the game, his work ethic were things that stood out, and I brought some of my former players I had been mentoring in, pro players, Al-Farouq Aminu and Ishmael Smith, and they spent several weeks that summer working out against Kim and some of our other seniors, just to give them a look at what it is like to be a pro, what it's like to play against NBA guys. And I just continued to watch Kim refine his game, and he made the biggest sacrifice of anyone that year. He went from being small forward, labeled as small forward, to having to almost play power forward as we lost our key power forward. And I'll tell you, our team took no drop off with Kim playing the 4 for us, which really spoke volumes of his heart, his commitment, his dedication, and his versatility. There was not one game we went into that I felt outmanned or overmatched, even though we were playing against guys that were 6'11", 7 foot at his position. Whether it was Jeff Withey, whether it was Quincy Miller, Kim outperformed them all just with straight grit and toughness. Well, for the last, since I left University of Missouri in 2015, I was just looking at opportunities within basketball to continue to refine myself, grow, and develop. And so going to Overtime Elite allowed me to really put together a strong group of individuals that just around the country that were about player development, player mentoring. And once Kim got the Providence job, it just made total sense for me to be able to pour into him, be able to pour into Providence, and be able to connect the relationships that I was able to amass nationwide and potentially allow us to have just different recruiting opportunities. And it had to be for someone like Kim. I had kind of just made a life for myself in the space of OTE and developing players and recruiting, NBA guys to that platform. But when Kim got this position, the opportunity to support him and the opportunity to grow underneath of his overall umbrella, it just excited me beyond belief. Well, as a staff, I continue to hear, and I've just come to learn, right? And everybody coming from George Mason together. Dennis Felt, an amazing defensive mind. Nate Tomlinson, an amazing offensive mind. And Kim just operates with such an elite level of professionalism. I know that we're going to pour into these guys, number one, mindset, right? Like what it means to give a national championship effort every single day. I know we're going to pour in toughness, what it means to win possession after possession and compete at a very high level. And then I know we're going to pour in love and encouragement. Those are the 4 things that I've heard every single day and every single time we've been in a staff meeting. We're going to love on our guys. We're going to encourage them. We're going to pour into them. But we're going to challenge them with their mindset, and we're going to demand toughness.